This week on the show, we interview entertainment legend turned medical cannabis farmer, Jim Belushi. How cool is that? We tell you why we hate doing the laundry, and CBD-infused jelly beans might be headed your way soon. That's pretty cool, right? My name is Tim Strommel, and this is Rooted. Welcome to the show, everyone. Thanks for tuning in wherever you are, and don't forget to check out our social accounts at Stay Rooted across the board. Okay, super easy. So you don't miss out on the awesome content we're putting out and some behind the scenes content that doesn't make it into the show or the podcast. Exclusive content. You have to throw it a follow, okay, at Stay Rooted. Okay, so we're really excited to share this show with you today, as thanks to our awesome friends and interview sponsors over at Green Bros, we recently had a chance to visit with entertainment legend Jim Belushi at his house in Los Angeles. Absolutely beautiful house, by the way. If you don't already know Jim has become a medical cannabis farmer and runs a huge property up in Oregon where he's constantly perfecting his cultivation process, talking and bonding with his plants, and doing appearances at local dispensaries that carry his brand, Belushi's Private Vault. He's also been a very famous actor for a long time, just Wikipedia Jim Belushi. So, why did Jim choose to enter the cannabis space? Why does he think that cannabis can help fight opioid addiction? And how has the conversation around cannabis changed since he was a kid growing up in Chicago? We'll dive into that and much more in our full podcast interview. Now, obviously, we don't have the 45 minutes to air the entire video here, so here are some of our favorite parts from our interview with Jim Belushi.
Here we are.
All right. Are we doing it? Jim, first off, thanks for letting us come here. Your house, beautiful, man. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Yes, it's, we spent a lot of time designing this and building it. It's built with love and money. God, it costs a lot of money to build things.
It's beautiful, and it's probably a lot different from Chicago, where you're born and raised. I want to know, what was the conversation like around cannabis as you were growing up?
Jeez. I mean, I was in high school. I got busted twice. The conversation was, that it was a drug. Mm-hmm. And by the way, everybody thought it was a drug and that we were doing drugs. And now the conversation is around, we're doing medicine. We're doing stuff to heal, the PTSD, the rushing of the endocannabinoids when you re-experience a traumatic event. We're talking about headaches, anxiety, sleep. We're talking about cancer, suffering people, veterans who are suffering. My brother John was a football player. He was a star, middle linebacker, all-state, all-conference. He banged his head so many damn times in that game, he got all the tackles. And I think he had CTE. His behavior, when I describe CTE behavior in the definition, it's like, wow, it's John. So I think he found his medicine in college. And, but because it was still categorized as a drug, and so are the other drugs. No, those are drugs. Opiates are drugs. Vicodin is a drug. Oxycontin is a drug. Cocaine is a drug. But back then, when you're suffering and you don't even know you're suffering, you're looking to release and calm the body. So now we know that cannabis is medicine, and the line is here. Those are drugs. Stop it. Don't do it. There's no violence around cannabis. It's a peaceful drug. People are sweet. It's spiritual. The outdoor stuff that I grow, the sun there is up for 16 hours during the summer. There's so much beautiful light from Father's Sun entering these plants. And when you smoke or eat those plants, you're eating and smoking the light, which means you become lighter, which moves right into enlightenment.
Very spiritual.
Yeah, it's a spiritual plant. Okay, now, there are situations where I think there are children who have epileptic seizures that cannabis will get rid of the seizures. But I'm talking socially, you know. Mm-hmm. So my conversation with them is that, just like I'm having a conversation with you, I believe in the medicine. I think if my brother John was a pothead, he'd be alive today.
We'll have a bit more with entertainment legend Jim Belushi later on in the episode. Let's jump to a quick break and come right back with our Whine of the Week. Welcome back to the show where it's time for my favorite segment on RootdTV, and that's Whine of the Week, where we explore the far-reaching depths of our curmudgeonous minds to pull out the threads of anger and frustration that weave themselves together into the tapestry of our daily lives. This week I have another one that we all deal with, as last week I did laundry. That's right, I do my own laundry like a big boy. Haven't made it big time yet, still gotta wash my whites. Anyways, I decided to go the extra mile, surprise my wife, and wash all the bedding, sheets and all, only to be reminded what a terrible experience this is every time. Stripping off the bedding, that's the easy part, right? And oddly satisfying, I must say, tearing that off. I mean, unless you have stains on your mattress you're not super proud of, or maybe you are proud of those stains. I guess you could be, which is super weird. Anyways, my real complaint this week comes from the one aspect of washing your sheets that we all hate, and it's the dreaded fitted bed sheet. I hate it. In case you don't do your own laundry or have a bed, or you have a bed but you don't wash sheets because you don't own sheets, which is kind of weird. Anyways, the fitted sheet goes on the bed first and has the elasticy band that perfectly fits around the corners of the bed. Yeah, right. This sheet is the bane of my laundry existence, okay? First off, you can't wash or dry it with anything else because, like a boa constrictor tightening its grip around its prey, the sheet wraps itself around anything it can find in the wash, right? So then when you take it to the dryer, I almost always find something balled up in the fitted sheet as wet as the moment I put it in the dryer, ruining my entire cycle. The worst. But let's say you have it dried. Then you're left with two more horrible scenarios. One, you try to fold this thing, terrible, and if you're like me, it just ends up rolled up in a ball because the elastic in it makes it impossible to fold neatly. So I just pile it next to the other stuff, put a bunch of stuff on top of it, make the problem go away. Or you try to remake the bed, which is super demoralizing because I have a king-size bed, so it's a rectangle and not a square, meaning I have to solve the puzzle as to which side is the long side versus the short side, and the elastic makes that impossible. Which side goes to the top, which side goes to the bottom, and which side puts me at the beach drinking a beer or anywhere else fitted sheets don't exist. It'd be great. And oh yeah, why do fitted sheets only come with enough slack to get just like an inch over the corner of the bed? Like, it's fitted. Give me more room. If I want to get into bed, I have to lay down slowly so as not to disturb the sheet, because if I move too much, the sheet pulls itself up, and next thing I know, I wake up in the morning and it's completely balled up underneath me. I don't understand how it's 2019 and this is still such a problem. Someone go out, please solve it. Maybe it's just me. I don't know. Do you hate dealing with these fitted sheets? I know some people do, some people don't. I don't like them. Or if you have just a regular Whine of the Week or something you want to complain about, send it to us on Twitter @StayRooted, and we'll pick our favorite responses maybe in the next show. You don't know. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the show. Earlier we showed you the first part of our interview with entertainment legend and medicine farmer Jim Belushi, brought to you by our awesome friends over at Green Bros, home of the world's leading cannabis harvesting technology. Check them out, greenbros.com. Here's the second part of our interview with Jim.
Tell me more about Captain Jack, if you would, where you met him, his story, and then why you wanted to bring him in to this Belushi farm experiment.
Well, you know, I've seen Captain Jack. He's come to a lot of Blues Brothers shows over the years, you know, and he does smell like this great weed as he walks. He's like Pigpen as he walks, you know. He always had a smile on his face. He was always a gentleman. So I've known Captain Jack. And I know he grew a little pot, but I'm not that big of a smoker, so it wasn't like I was chasing him, you know. And then when I started this farm, Danny said, you gotta talk to Captain Jack. And then when I started learning about what land strains are, what, you know, what's going on in our industries, I said, you want to grow it. It's a great story. You know, you were in the mountains with these men in these villages, this village that was known for hashish for hundreds of years. Took them 2 years for them to trust him, and they presented him with a bag of seeds. On his second year, and he brought it back here, and he's been growing it from seed to flower for 40 years. This year, I got him to clone. This year, we've taken 1,200 different seeds that he's grown over these 40 years, and we're working closely, well, we're contracted with Phylos out of Portland, and we're creating a whole DNA study. They did the first study, and in their galaxy, Captain Jack's way over here. There's nothing like it. Wow. Wasn't crossed or touched with anything. Everything's a hybrid now. You don't know what. This is its own unique strain. And so what we're doing is we're down to 430. And now we're flowering that out. And with all the science, we're going to reverse half of them, and then we're going to have an open pollination, and we're going to create the best of the Captain Jacks. So I always thought Captain Jack, the beauty of it was the myrcene, because there's 4% terpenes in Captain Jack, and 72% of that is myrcene. So there's like 3% myrcene in this. Wow. And myrcene is just a beautiful terpene that adds to the entourage effect. But I believe there is a cannabinoid in this that hasn't been found that is creating the effect with the THC. It's not a high THC. And the myrcene that is so unique. And that's what we're trying to find. And Captain Jack's strain is so fun, so creative. I had some people out here, and we, split a joint, and for the next 40, 45 minutes, we were riffing. We were telling jokes off each other, that heighten and explore. I mean, we were laughing, having such a great time, and I thought, while I watched this happen, I went, so this is why they were smoking it on Saturday Night Live. Yeah. I could see the writers sitting around a table, blowing a joint, and coming up with cone heads. It's a very creative strain. It's very unique. It's got a great history. So I really believe the marketplace wants something unique. And that's what Captain Jack strain has to offer.
Big time thanks to Jim Belushi for joining us on the show and for sharing his beautiful house with us for the interview. Now go check out more of what Jim is up to at belushisfarm.com. belushisfarm.com. And don't forget to check out the full 30-minute podcast version of this interview. There was a ton we couldn't fit into the show, and it's definitely worth you checking out. Okay, you can find the podcast on iTunes, SoundCloud, or our website, stayrooted.com. Let's jump to a quick commercial break and come right back with our favorite and least favorite things of the week. Welcome back into the show. Hey, have you ever wondered how easy it would be to start making your own solventless medical CBD rosin at home? We're talking cannabis or CBD in its purest form, without any chemicals or solvents required. Well, if you're interested, then be sure to stay tuned for our next episode where I visit with Eric Vlosky of Pure Pressure, who shows me just how easy it is to use their new Helix rosin press at home to fulfill all your solventless extraction needs. To give you an idea as to what is being extracted and how solventless extraction works, check out this amazing explainer video put together by our friends over at Green Bros and Pure Pressure.
This is a trichome head. Trichomes are microscopic mushroom-shaped resin glands found on the flowering buds of the cannabis plant. Here is where hundreds of known cannabinoids, terpenes, and flavonoids are produced. Green Bros and Pure Pressure have joined forces to help make extracting these trichomes into solventless rosin easier than ever before. Start by dry sifting your trim for 5 to 12 minutes. This process shears the trichome heads from the trim. Next, fill and insert the Pure Pressure rosin bag into the press, adjusting your heat and pressure settings. Then turn your trim into gold. Your rosin can now be enjoyed as a dab, used in your favorite edible recipes, or further processed into solventless cartridges. Green Bros and Pure Pressure have collaborated to bring you the finest solventless extraction system on the market. Call or check us out at greenbros.com and purepressure.com today to set up a free demo.
Welcome back to the show. Before we say goodbye, we want to share with you our favorite and least favorite things of the week. Let's come out of the gates with those positive vibes, as the creator of Jelly Belly has decided to take on the CBD industry. That's right, David Klein, who developed Jelly Belly jelly beans decades ago and sold his company in the 80s, recently searched the CBD market in hopes of finding a CBD-infused jelly bean. And when he didn't find one, he decided to launch a new company called Spectrum Confections, and is now making his own CBD-infused jelly beans. Which seems like a good idea all the way around, right? I mean, I like jelly beans, I like CBD, so why not? Okay, ending on a positive note, as a congressional committee has approved a cannabis banking bill that would essentially vastly increase banking access for the cannabis space on a national level. Now, currently, the vast majority of banks in the US are reluctant to provide accounts to cannabis companies in fear of a conflict with drug laws or federal money laundering laws. It's still FDIC insured, so it's federally illegal. There's a lot of red tape. Now, the bill doesn't do anything yet, but it's a positive step as now it heads towards the congressional floor sometime in the next year to be debated on and considered for becoming law. According to the members of the committee, the banking bill is likely to be grouped in with a bunch of other cannabis reform bills in an upcoming session debate and vote. Now, I'm really taking the positive outlook on this story because I've talked about banking on this show so many times before, and my utter amazement at how far this industry has come with banking resources few and far between. Something like this would be such a huge move for so many people in this country that I would be elated when it passes, not if, but when it passes, and it's my favorite thing this week because hopefully this is the next step towards that realization. I hope so. Those are our favorite and least favorite things of the week. Which do you like or dislike the most? Or do you want to share your favorite thing with us? Hit us up on Twitter @StayRooted and let us know your thoughts. That's going to do it for us on the show this week. But before we go, big thanks to our amazing friends over at Green Bros for sponsoring our interview with Jim Belushi. Don't forget to go ahead and check out their industry-leading cannabis harvesting solutions at greenbros.com. And also, thanks to the team over at Harvested Media for helping us to shoot this interview. It looked beautiful. We love them. Check out Harvested Media. They do great work. Lastly, thanks to our friends over at Cannabis Club TV and High Times TV for continuing to air our content. My name is Tim Strombo, and I'll remind you one more time to work hard, be humble, and stay rooted.